환영합니다.
The guy who does the chant for the MVP team, that's the Bless RNG guy, by the way. So you can tell there's one fan who's the #1 fan of MVP. That's him. He is praying, hoping and praying that they can come back in this one.
Well, he wants to see the Doctor being out. No Doctor visits today because Dr. Mundo is so ready to go with stacking armor. Sunfire came into a second armor item, and it kind of locks out all of MVP's damage, which is pretty scary to consider. It is, of course, worth pointing out, we talked about how OnFleek Rank 2 has a 70% win rate in 133 games. The sample size is the relevant part. That is so many games in Challenger. Tarzan, Griffin's jungler, is ranked #1. He has a higher win rate of 82%, but that's over only 34 games on the Taliyah. Yeah. So the fact that he's played 100 more games and his 70% win rate is really, really incredible. For example, a interesting stat to compare it to is rank 5, called We Need, is known as a Poppy 1 trick. A Poppy only player has been top 5 challenger, kind of a replacement for Don't Remake Aatrox, the Aatrox main from the past. He's played 773 games of Poppy this year with a 58% win rate, which is just as incredible because it's 773 games at challenger.
It's, you could say, pretty insane. And you're also comparing Tarzan to OnFleek. I was doing that a little bit earlier, but definitely it's a guy who is known as top 1, top 2 junglers in the world, perhaps, at this point. Maybe just behind Score.
Karsa.
Yeah, Karsa's up there too. But then there's this guy who's on a challenger team trying to make it into LCK. Did a good job of helping carry in game #1. Want to see if he can do it here on the Taliyah. Like I said before, if the Taliyah runs into the Kindred and you successfully dodge everything as Kindred, that can be a hard fight to win as Taliyah, especially early on. But OnFleek just going to get that one Scuttle Crab and farm out his jungle. That's going to be it for him, and eventually look for some very effective ganks.
Here's what I'll say about OnFleek. Whatever happens from this game onwards, I would be very surprised not to see him in the LCK next year. He has certainly shown a lot, and there are plenty of teams in the LCK who could do with a jungle upgrade. I would say that jungle is probably the weakest position in Korea after the first few names on the tier list. So, he's had a great start. I'm very excited to see this Taliyah that we've already put a lot of hype into. It is just one game on Taliyah, so who knows? Maybe it won't be the game for him, but definitely deserves a lot of respect for the pick.
I do respect it. Has only been showing us really aggressive stuff. Olaf, the one game of Sejuani, but then also Camille and Jax. He's getting in there, actually. A very early control ward from the side of Yondu was placed here, but he's actually going to find it. As if he's a homing missile on the Taliyah, is going to take that out.
You definitely feel tilted seeing that ward because, okay, now I'm lying in wait. Okay, what is this? So, control ward will be taken out, like you mentioned, Valdez. Nice lane control here for Ashe Tom Kench. Even though Zyra Khan you take in almost every scenario when it comes to lane priority, there's always going to be windows where you count the creeps wrong or the break doesn't suit you, and for that, Pilot and Max, for now at least, going to be perfectly happy. The other thing to mention, of course, is the enemy jungle was spotted up topside, so Pilot and Max don't have to be respectful of any sort of gank.
Oh man, they're being so aggressive. Hollow missing a couple of CS as well, and even some XP. And take a look at this positioning from Yondu, thinking about a dive in the bottom side is going to start up the Gromp first. And then consider it afterwards.
He will back away because also consider he uses all 3 abilities on the Gromp, and that's another 10-12 seconds of cooldown. So wasn't going to be a timing for that, but definitely was considering his options. Max wants it to be a one-sided trade, so just uses the Devour early. Remember, this is Devour nerf being live. Speaking of nerfs, Yondu walking up and OnFleek looking for his man.
Gonna place that ward, make sure they have eyes on Yondu here. Taliyah definitely can burst this down. You gotta be careful. OnFleek also does have his smite. Just gonna look for the smite, actually. They're gonna combo straight onto the Kindred here. First blood as Joker and the team all coming up to the mid lane. Was looking for Ian too, not gonna find that one. almost using the Scuttle Crab as a bait to get the Kindred.
Very, very decisive stuff from the side of Battlecomics. The kill awkwardly does go to Joker, though, rather than to one of the carries, but anything to slow down Yondu, who did, I believe, pick up. Yes, he did, in fact, pick it up. I don't know if he got a mark for that. I didn't see the animation for the mark. We'll see the replay here to know that.
He did, yeah.
Let's see if he actually did pick up the mark here. But he definitely got the Scuttle Crab. Watching the Scuttle Crab play, he did get the mark for. That's a very important thing to remember from all of this. Joker gets the kill. They can't chase on and get a summoner out of Ian, which would have been the icing on the top of the cake. But nice little advantage. It does leave Dove a little bit susceptible in the mid lane, though. He used his flash to secure the kill.
Could be an option here. Ian, though, not taking the cleanse into the Rise. You see that sometimes for that pressure can help out if they're looking for Dove, but if On Fleek wants to roll around, they could definitely get that ultimate at least out of Ian. With his flash available and the ultimate, he's not going to die straight up, but definitely could put on pressure in the lane.
I think Ian took inspiration from Dove, who in this exact matchup on the Aatrox side took Ignite and solo killed a Rise at level 4, so sure, he's a great person to learn from when it comes to the mid lane Aatrox. Is Dove. Already talked about how he plays both sides of this matchup. Xayah Rakan Rise or Xayah Rakan Aatrox was basically exactly what Dove and Battlecomics were taking every game in that Challengers Finals promotion tournament. So definitely very, very experienced on this setup.
Speaking about plays around the mid lane, On Fleek is waiting for it here. Ian could try to bait him in here. Nice double knock up there from Ian. Is going to get Dove on in, and you said it before, no flash, he's dead meat. Nice dodge there by Yondu, and now we got an Ornn coming on in. On Fleek is going to be able to flash away from that to get to safety. But a nice little turnaround there by MVP.
Love the patience from MVP, and just like we were talking about narrow win conditions, we have the looming Dr. Mundo takeover in this game. Mundo himself has actually gone for Magic Resist first. Now, Spirit Visage is a great item. Spirit Visage against this team is a lot of respect for Ornn's lane damage, and it does slow down some of the scaling. But Mundo Raid Boss is coming later. This is all about the W positioning from Ian. The moment that Dove got to the edge but couldn't actually get out, his life was void.
Trying to predict that flash, thought that On Fleek would flash a little bit towards the right side, away from the Aatrox. A very smart flash there from On Fleek. Makes ADD look a little bit silly on the backside. Not sure if they would have gone for the dive afterwards, but either way, it was a nice play that I wanted to mention. Soar up here.
I'd like to see him sit on Spectre's Cowl and then just go full armor. I think Spirit Visage, while it, again, it has that amazing synergy with Mundo, especially after level 11, because at one point the ult is still a bit of a one-point wonder there. 2 and 3 is much stronger. I think right now, any more into Magic Resist could definitely be turned around against Battlecomics. Bot side, about 2-wave advantage coming through is, speaking of the Mundo, he's coming for a bit of a roam. This is optimistic gank timing.
Ian still has his flash, but does not have his ultimate, more importantly. So if Rise was able to get that lockdown, they could have perhaps comboed, and with how tanky the Mundo is, maybe you try to go for it. Not super tanky this early, though, as you were mentioning. They're not going to take the risk. They'll just let it happen. ADD, for the second time, coming down towards the mid lane, always threatening.
If Ornn has river control, it's one of the few top laners where it's so relevant, because if he can pick up every honey fruit as he pops into the river and then roam mid lane, he can, of course, interact with mid lane from far away. He has so much control because he can buy items, get back to full health and mana, and gank mid lane in pretty much the same order. So whenever you control the river as a top lane Ornn, you actually have a lot of different options. A great point to remember for solo rank, but also for competitive play.
Ian here not able to make the connection onto Dove, but you'll notice that On Fleek was waiting nearby just in case. Pretty low on mana. Would love to go back and finish off that Runic Echoes before he does return into the matchup. Yondu here, curious about how many marks he has after getting that first one.
I want to say it's 2, but we'll get that information very soon. Get the confirmation there. Went for Warrior. A lot more normal a choice in the LCK compared to the Devourer that some people situationally go. So far, everything pretty standard between the two. As here comes Joker, just going to get the Devour out. Now, this is a more relevant cooldown than previously. There is about 20 seconds of duration to try to abuse. That's why OnFleek is jungling bot side, but for now, not actually going to be pushed up.
Look at the play here from Yondu. The mark is over on the right side, which baits OnFleek into going and taking that away. But now Ornn and the Kindred able to take down this Rift Herald very, very fast. The ping does go onto it. Looks like they're going to go for the trade of the Mountain Drake, but Ian is here.
He was trying to avoid wards and come in for a gank, and then was semi-surprised to see the Drake started.
Yeah. Pretty funny. So Rift Herald does go to the side of MVP. Battlecomics here, just going to take away this Mountain Drake in the trade. Taliyah very fast, as is Kindred in taking out these objectives.
So much gold spent on Spirit Visage. This is a great timing for Rift Herald. End the lane on the Mundo. Keep the pace high, MVP. Do your best Battlecomics impression in this game, and maybe Mundo won't overtake. Again, not a big fan personally, but that's a decision made by Soar, as apparently Pilot and Max weren't talking too much about the Abyssal Voyage.
Max does first and asks questions later. He is the alpha of that bottom lane.
We've known that for a long time. He gets away with so many support picks that other people would not. He's played 2 games of the Scion now, about 5 of Vel'Koz. He does like playing it his way. Ian going to move back on his quest for his Black Cleave, just the Merc treads, try to deal with the Rise trades.
A decent amount of dashes on the side of MVP when I think about it. Aatrox, Kindred, and Ornn all got one. Could be relevant in terms of team fight damage. Sometimes the Taliyah lays down some perfect rocks on the grounds and you just don't see it. And especially, 2-3 items into the game, especially if the Taliyah is getting fed. You take a hefty amount of damage, especially that Kindred. Just a small point, as we do have a little bit of a lull here in this game.
No one's getting fed in this one, Valdez, when it comes to the early game. Kindred herself is about 2.5 camps ahead, and I guess farming is more relevant at this point. Yondu clearing the Krugs, going to take out a ward as well. Plenty of control wards in the inventory from the side of MVP, which is good to see. There was actually a 2-stack coming through from Yondu. Back away here, and I feel like every MVP team fight should be in their advantage. Especially because the Mundo is still quite a long way away from being a raid boss.
Take a look at this. Who's baiting who is the real question. Hops away, and that's a little bit obvious as to who's on the other side. OnFleek gonna try his combo onto the Tom Kench.
That was a really poor game of charades. Everyone knew what was going on both sides. But at the end of the day, it does end.
How about a blue buff to your Ornn? Spirit Visage means he's not going to be doing too much damage, but his wave clear is going to be really consistent with that blue buff.
OnFleek going to be spotted here.
Uh-oh, really hard position. Knows he has to flash away early, away from that one. Dove now taking a huge amount of damage on the backside as he was the one thinking that they were baiting Ian in. So nice little positioning there from Yondu, whose Kindred has been impressive so far this game.
That's about a 900 damage trade from MVP and nothing gained on Battlecomics. Great time to put down the Rift Herald. You know that Taliyah at best is at half health and trying to get some health through the jungle. Joker's already walked up. Here's the Weaver's Wall to try to slow down the short-range auto-attackers. No one can auto-attack the turret just yet.
Ooh, Arrow is going to sail wide right through the goalposts, actually. There's that engage, but the Devour does come in from Max. Ornn with the follow-up. Don't know about that one, ADD. I definitely shelve that one and pretend it did not happen, as I guess the coordination wasn't there. We were thinking maybe we go for the dive, but absolutely not.
That was actually really, really well done by Battlecomics. I think in almost every other scenario, the turret goes down, but even Kindred couldn't auto-attack the turret from the range she was at pre-getting 75 range off of the 4 marks. So they don't take the turret, and returning to this turret is going to take a while now that Xayah Rakan have moved to mid lane. It's a really small point, the sort of thing that would go overlooked. It won't show up in a match history. But keeping up the turret there was deck stacked against Battlecomics, and they do buy at least another minute, maybe even much longer, on the mid lane turret.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. It was a really nice wall there from OnFleek. It's one of the smaller points of being a Taliyah player. Definitely the seismic shove combo is the more obvious one. How well you can weave your stones in and out and use that worked ground. But, wow, Max, you're a huge troll. Trying to steal this Raptor. He's going to throw it on
This
down.
Raptor's patience is going to run out. It's going to be so scared.
Oh, okay, he died.
Wow.
Put it out of its misery. That's what OnFleek says.
That's probably the furthest point away that a Raptor's been killed in professional play.
It was very unknown territory for him. He doesn't get to see the mid lane too much. Speaking of which, mid laner for Battlecomics under pressure has to flash away from Yondu and Ian, who have been high-fiving this entire game.
The pick CC finding their man, but not to kill. Still only 2 kills overall in the game. Zaya teleported back to mid lane just to wave as the Storm Razor done, but multiple people rotating through. Mid lane, always have to balance, rotating out, looking for a pick as Joker, and also being there to help the lane. Speaking of the lane, here's ADD, and 2 minutes removed, the mid lane turret will go down.
You mentioned it, it only buys a little bit of time, but MVP all over the map. They are getting objectives. Down in the bottom lane, too, Ian able to take out the second turret of the game.
And Battlecomics can't fight. They still only have a Spirit Visage Mundo against 480 threats on the enemy team. And given that, feels like the item's not there, the scaling is not there, being run around the map in smart order is Battlecomics. MVP have been much stronger in terms of how they played out this game number 2. Draft was helpful, but the play style was really good to see. See the heat map also, plenty of visits to top and bot side by Yondu in particular.
Now the Taliyah just being a little bit more passive in this one. We'll see which mark this is actually for Yondu. I think it should be 3, because I think it only spawns on Rift Scuttlers up until 3, if I'm not mistaken.
You're correct there, Valdez, but no confirmation just yet. Need the mouse over onto the Kindred. Second Drake of the game is taken. They're getting the hell out of there with the Realm Warp.
See you later. This is what they're going to say. Well, taking 2 Drakes once again, Battlecomics. It seems like in these promotion tournaments, or even in the Gauntlet, we had so many teams that just monopolize the Drakes. Today it's Battlecomics.
MVP basically should spend most of this time, probably Max in particular, pressing tab and saying, all right, how much armor is there onto the Mundo? If you don't see a Sunfire Cape and a Bramble Vest, and maybe even this completed second item, I think you win basically any 5v5, and that is important information to know when you have Ornn Ashe as non-committal engage to try to fight. MVP should find all the fights they want. They've taken the Rift Herald, and they will certainly be looking for Baron control around 20 minutes. That Baron damage very, very good with Kindred and Ashe, especially if someone's there to tank it up. We see the back away from the Mundo. Battlecomics desperate for 3 items onto their main champions, but at 1.5, 3 items feels like a pretty long way away.
Sitting back waiting is going to be the name of the game this time around for Battlecomics, whereas they were the ones being the aggressors in game number 1. I feel like the style of being the aggressor looks a little bit better on Battlecomics, just based on what we've seen, especially with that aggressive nature of OnFleek and Dove.
I've always been biased towards the aggressive teams that want to make things happen rather than the reactive teams. Just a style preference, because I think playing aggressively you force mistakes, whereas playing defensively, the game can get away from you and you're relying on enemy mistakes. So I'm always on the proactive side. So always happy to hear the proactive team doing better. As MVP pushes through top side, looking for a pick onto Dove. This is really aggressive, but that Ashe arrow sails wide.
Dove's got his Nikes on today. He's just been able to get away from so many ganks so far in this one. OnFleek really having trouble hitting anything. I mentioned the 3 dashes, not good if you're on stones, but if you're just not in danger, you're going to get away from that Taliyah every single time. That's exactly what we're seeing. Even the Devour helping out on the less mobile Ashe.
Mundo doing Mundo things. No level 16 yet. That's always a sign, as well as, I guess the Weaver Sword was used.
Interesting decision there.
Doesn't provide vision on this patch, so not really sure about that one.
You know what it can be used to do, which, you know, it's such a rare case, but it happens, you know, very, very not often. You can block the minions to actually try to push a turret if there's nobody in a wave, in a lane rather. So
that could have been it.
I feel like he was going for it, but it kind of stopped short, and the angle wasn't perfect. So I'm not 100% sure.
didn't have enough information to know that one, Valdez. I love to give pros the benefit of the doubt, but personally didn't have all the variables. Nice to bring it up, though, as teleport was cancelled in mid lane. Wasn't really sure what that was all about. Soar and ADD continue their weird tanks thing.
Yeah, Soar is like, well, buddy, I mean, there's a Plantier and it's on my side of the rift, so I'm going to take it.
Now, I know you're not much of a top laner, but did you ever experience the Korean solo rank terror of the Conqueror Mundo?
Yes, actually.
Oh.
I had my stint of playing only Cho'Gath for like 70 games in a row. It wasn't that many, but yeah, you would just go up against Phantom Dancer and you're like, wait, what is this? Why is he hitting me for 5,000 damage?
Because, of course, that would also be extra 2 damage on the Q as well. And then, obviously, the crits coming through from Phantom Dancer. That was definitely a love letter for about 3 weeks here in Korea. No Conqueror this time, so just a very boring wet noodle fight between Mundo and Ornn.
You mentioned it before, but the new thing in the Korean solo queue is the Aftershock Lissandra. We'll see how many of these things make it to Worlds. And, you know, I doubt we'll be seeing that Conqueror Mundo, but
I think we
perhaps more Lissandra.
I think we definitely will see more than one game of Conqueror Lissandra. There is my early prediction.
Conqueror?
I meant Aftershock.
Yeah.
But the Conqueror Lissandra would be interesting.
We were talking about Conqueror on mages. You know, get that combat going on a Viger and then just use your full combo.
So what is, now I give you a chance. I'm going to reuse one, so I'm cheating a bit, but it's always fun to think about. It feels like there's always one unexplored thing at Worlds where it's just a new thing for Worlds that we wonder how it was never used before. I know I've been talking a long time about Trinity Force Tank Fizz with Conqueror in the top lane. That's my guess. We'll hold that point.
Nice dodge there by Ian, but his World Ender is going to be popped here. On fleek, super low, is going to have to stopwatch on the backside. Perfectly timed Joker with the amazing engage in the back line too. Yondu might be able to trade a kill, actually. On fleek gets a little bit too close, but it isn't going to matter as Hollow picks up 3 kills and a huge team fight win goes to Battlecomics.
And Battlecomics had the TP advantage. There was no TP in the bot side for ADD, and it's going to be a pause. Well, this is a pretty pivotal point in the game. Max just cycles through here, wants to go back to exhaust. I noticed the barrier. Back into the League of Legends we are. Back at Spo TV, game number 2, 1-1 if you're joining us late. The action seemed to actually give it over to Battlecomics, and if you remember our issue with the enemy comp here, let's hold that point as MVP want to chase for a kill.
Joker a little bit too deep there. He's busy working on his mic, but actually nearly got caught, had to flash away.
Let's once again go over the win conditions. Remember, this Mundo looks set up to answer the only physical damage comp on the side of MVP. That's why the previous team fight, going the way of Battlecomics, could have closed the door, as we're closing the door on Valdez's mental. He actually hit the table there because of our third pause of the game. I hope this is not going to be Tom Kench Devour
Max
related.
says, I can't use my Devour. Imagine if that happened.
So I actually cast a game with Pastry Time. It was Invictus Gaming versus WE, where the IG jungler, we had so many pauses and restarts and pauses that the IG jungler couldn't use his flag for the rest of the game. This was after 30 minutes worth of pause because of connection issues. So we had to remake the entire game. That was 30 minutes in and at about 45 minutes worth of pause. So that
sounds like a fun podcast.
This was 2012. So a lot has changed. But, yeah, there is definitely the potential for that to happen. We didn't have an official podcast back then. Definitely not the amazing sponsors and professional players waiting for us to talk.
Definitely not. But it seems like they want to get the most out of the podcast today as well. We have no information about what the problem is just yet. Going to try to get that information to you guys as soon as possible. Just means we got more time, Papa Schmishy.
It's true. Podcast may have been on hold, but it seems like maybe we'll be releasing a few episodes today to celebrate the end of the season, but that's just a micro one. Back into the game here.
Soria is going to ultimate here. Do they have enough damage? Tom Kent as well should have Pilot with him. It's 4-on-1 right now on the Mundo, and nobody can kill him. The wall comes through perfectly angled. Wasn't going to matter anyway. As that Mundo is getting away, he just doesn't take any damage.
And that is worrying because we're only talking about one armor item complete onto Soar. He walks away. The Drake is started, but Dove continues his split push. Seems like Battlecomics will give up the Drake.
Drake is going to go to the side of MVP, but you can see how much Battlecomics is getting on the map from this. The big roam into the bottom side, they get the mid turret, rather the first one, did a bit of damage to the top side. They get all this vision as well.
Is this the tipping point? We're going to see an Arnold who will need to be max range.
Oh, nice dodge here of everything by Joker into the Realm Warp. See you later. As Dove, he's played this champion before.
That's a nice next level. Usually we're umming and ahhing about the amazing Realm Warp into the Baron pit to kill Baron fast. That one's pre-prepared. Everything's set up to allow the bot lane to escape. Wow, nicely done. Squeaky clean coming through from Battlecomics. They will not be punished in MVP. Bit of egg on their face. While it's not the teamfight loss that we saw before the chrono break, it does slow down their advance. And with a full AD comp, they are only 600, 700 gold ahead of Battlecomics.
They'd like to get a little bit farther ahead in this one. Try to pressure and put the game a little bit faster, but Battlecomics doing a good job of waiting it out here. Once we hit that late game, the Xayah, Rise, and the Mundo are really going to be just crazily fed, very nicely scaling on their side. At least MVP was able to take the Mountain Drake. You don't want double Mountain Drake on the side of Battlecomics with Talia, Rise, and Xayah. You're going to get rid of these objectives. So.
Even Mundo's pretty good at taking Baron when it comes to top lane tanks, so definitely take your point, Valdez. Minimize the Mountain Drakes where you can.
You want to hear what the problem was on that last pause?
I want to hear what the problem was.
Max's icon for the Unsealed Spellbook appeared weird. It looked weird, so he reconnected, and we resumed the game.
Thank you for that update, Valdez. I'm sure the crowd and the fans were very happy to hear that. Definitely having a amount of issues in this particular game, number 2. As Battlecomics push for nothing will ever beat the chair issue of the chair not being comfortable enough. I was in Twitch chat for that one.
Can I please have a new chair?
We did love that, especially when Wolf also wanted a new chair because he heard that the new chair would be nice.
Yeah. It's like, how come he gets a new chair? I want one too.
SpoTV bangers that I guess will fall on deaf ears. What if you join in the LCK era? You'll never remember the SpoTV issue era.
It's true. I mean, if you join tomorrow, I'm going to hold that thought as Pilot is super low. The charm onto Max. Look at that Xayah damage. Are they going to get any kills in the end? The answer is no. But how about 2 flashes and an exhaust? That sounds pretty good anyway.
And any tool used by MVP is a considerable one. As Fleet flashed, I guess he was just using it in support of the enemy team.
Nice.
As you do, you know. It's a support flash.
That's it's a very, rare Talia strategy where you just use it when you're feeling bad for the enemy team.
Well,
because
a lot of people know
hard.
about mirror neurons, right? Where you see someone else crying and your eyes start to tear up as well. Maybe that's
your ears start bleeding.
Why can't there be mirror flash neurons where you just see someone else flash and you're like, yeah, okay, I'll use it too.
I feel like I've done that from time to time. Sora's level 16. He doesn't take damage right now as he's working on that Warmogs, it looks like. That's his 3rd item. Let's take a look at the replay here. Okay, this is why he flashed. So we did have a real reason.
Now it's a replay issue. Could I get a replay so that my joke actually lands a bit better? Can we chrono break this broadcast?
I wouldn't mind. What if we could just chrono break life? Where would we be?
I would have made less mistakes, but still mistakes.
I'd probably have more money.
Chrono break till before those lottery numbers were read out.
Yeah, I like how I kept it nondescript. Everybody can think about what I was saying. Either way, we do have a game here. It's still only 1-1 at about 30 minutes in. We had a lot of kills before that chrono break situation happened, but still thinking about it. Battlecomics, I'm just waiting for their moment to go for that Baron. But again, it's kind of hard when you've got that Ornn for the free and easy engage if they do find them in there.
Dr. Mundo has been hoovering up minions this game. 319. He's got the Lockout Bramble Vest on the way for the never will take damage ever, ever, ever. Coming up next, could be a Randuin's. I think Bramble Vest is probably where he goes, but we'll wait and see. on Fleek. Gonna take out the blue buff because Rise doesn't need it at this point. We had what looks like a very exciting peak, but that is only 2,000 plus gold. It's been arrested, and now the arrested development might be that Soar shows up as level 17 Mundo and just wins the game.
Definitely feels that way. Is Pilot really going to be able to output that much damage when the Mundo's running straight at him? Only one Devour from the Tom Kench is going to help out. TP's coming in and a ping onto Baron. They're thinking about at least playing around this and perhaps trying to bait in MVP, but nothing comes of it.
No gold difference between the two. All about positioning with those TPs from the AD carry. Here's the Ash Arrow. We'll be hitting.
That's from pretty far down range, but there is no follow-up. Dove stops Max and the Yondu at the gate. And nobody wants to go into that disadvantageous position into the jungle.
And no one wants to go and see the pearly gates that often you see when you're dead. No deaths yet. Another good use of the Weaver's Wall. What's coming with it? It's just Dove.
Okay, Dove gets in there, but a three-man charm from it. And look at Soar. Pilot's out of this fight 100%. The Ornn knock him in the backside is nice, but either way, Dove has so much room. Soar kills Pilot by himself, essentially. Only has that Rakan to help him out. He's still going. When does this Mundo stop? Can he get the kill here? The answer's no on the backside, but it doesn't matter. As Battlecomics, their battle coin is going up, up, up.
I think definitely investing in BTC, if you did it a couple of minutes ago, maybe even during that break, maybe that's where you went. You'd be feeling good because Dr. Mundo is going to solo win this game. And how about a Baron to close the door on MVP?
Well, we talked about the Baron damage when there's absolutely no pressure from the enemy team. It feels even faster. It's going to disappear. Battlecomics looking poised to take a massive lead in game number 2.
And somehow it's all about the spring season again, or maybe even the start of summer. Just invest in Mundo and the returns are big. We finally found a good time for Mundo. Soar's teleports have been a delight for every chance I've been able to watch him. When he's playing a tank, he's reliable, and Pilot has the worst day of his life, trying to kill 3.5 item Mundo.
We have Papa's mad life, but we also have Pilot's sad life here going up against Soar. It's just pretty disgusting. Kind of sad that he couldn't get the kill on the backside to make it feel even worse, but Dove did the damage, and they took him all out. Mundo by himself, just soloing down an Ashe. Always pretty funny. Gonna get another Cloud Drake here to make that engage even faster.
Joker backs away. 3,703 Mundo damage, if you don't mind. How much damage did he take from turrets? Probably more than any of these numbers. It says that someone killed him, but we all know the turret deserved the gold.
Yeah. Joker, I feel like Battlecomics, they could go from like if they make it into the LCK, like a, 8th place, 7th place team to like a 5th place team if Joker just didn't get caught as many times as he does.
Battlecomics hanging back in the mid lane. Xayah doesn't want to walk up just yet. Where's Dr. Mundo at? He's actually between top and mid and bot lane. Weaver's Wall again used a lot of rotational walls we've noticed from on Fleek here. Even with the shorter duration, he's all about timings. They get a turret out of it so you can get behind it. And all they want to do is follow Mundo to the promised land of 3 match points for Battlecomics.
The wall actually looked like it was used to just zone away the guys that were in the mid lane. It was only Aatrox, and so with the Baron buff, they were easily able to take it out. Now on Fleek's here in the mid lane looking for a seismic shove. I think he's hit one, and that was before the chrono break, so he's looking for that real first one. Got it engaged, though. Hollow's going to lift off, and Joker in a little bit of trouble, but unfortunately, ADD on the Ornn doesn't have enough damage to do much. Good try, but no cigar.
No sadism pop, full health because of the Warmog Spirit Visage. Even with the Spirit Visage burst, he's still so damn tanky. Joker goes in.
He's gonna get the charm onto 2, but really just creating space here. Soar is gonna ultimate up.
He's gaining health.
He's actually, is he gonna survive from the backside? No, Pilot able to crit him down with that anti-healing. Rodender is going to be popped at the end, and Dove is just doing way too much damage. Look at Dove and Hollow together. They have full health. They had so much room because Joker and Soar were taking all the damage in the front line.
But they took down the raid boss. They're now adjusting, checking out their loot, hoping they can get something from this. Now probably realizing they're not playing World of Warcraft, but they feel good about it, Valdez.
He only had 1 kill too, so no extra streak or anything like that.
Oh no!
Feels so bad.
The experience bounty is good. He was level 18.
Yeah.
Dr. Mundo was gaining health for some of this, but finally the anti-healing comes on, and we do learn that raid bosses do die.
It was actually, I think, the crit from Kindred underneath 15% that actually chunked him down at the end. What if they didn't have Kindred? Does he stay alive in the fight? I think there's definitely a world where that's possible.
Wasn't really a way to get magic damage out of the jungle because Elise is not really played at all. Rumble jungle is a very situational thing. That is some big damage as both 80 carries were firing away. Let's mention that was 7,000 damage to Mundo coming through from the Ashe. Didn't really hit anyone else. Did eventually take him down. Wait till the Thorn Mail's there, and then Mundo will do even more damage. But he has the Randuins now.
Yeah. It's all about that health and armor. That's all he's got alongside Spirit Massage to help him gain health, as we were seeing. And there's another wall nicely placed by On Fleek. It's not that super long 8-second wall. I think it's 5 seconds now. So it's not the super long stun anymore, but still can get the job done.
That one didn't really do too much. If we do see Ornn versus Mundo every game in Worlds, the upside for 80 carries is their DPM numbers will be really high because just putting damage into a frontline tank is a good way to make yourself look like a very good player. But they're pushing through here, Battlecomics, 2 lanes, and okay, all right, Dub, okay.
Yep, this guy wants to get into LCK. He's not going to get caught out here. The rest of MVP so out of position now. An easy turret. Will they reach for the inhibitor is the real question.
Dove is having a bit of fun on the bot side. They're trying to engage 5v4.
Actually, it's MVP. They're getting frustrated. They really want to get some kind of engage, and absolutely nothing lands. ADD not able to hit On Fleek at all. He's just surfing on the rocks, on the walls, and that's going to be the second inhibitor going down. Battlecomics looking for the third in the top lane.
It's going to have to be a reverse sweep from what we're seeing unless MVP can find a way through the meat shield that is Dr. Mundo.
Battlecomics really coming out to play tonight and impressing that they are. Joker up in the top side. It's him and Hollow desperately trying to take out that third inhibitor to really get this one started. The wall's going to come in. Actually, they catch ADD here, but really just more zoning as they do pick that one up. We got 2 big objectives. Perfect timing for Battlecomics to go back, buy a bunch of control wards, and take potentially both of these big objectives.
And definitely no way to contest both if you're MVP. Maybe a way to contest one, but they need to hop to pushing out these waves so that even to come close to doing that. On Fleek just stealing away Grubs on the back end. The full reset, opening up a Baron and an Elder, and then giving themselves plenty of time to talk about Game 3 because they've done 99% of the work of Battlecomics. They have 1% remaining to put themselves 2-0 up in this best of 5.
It's looking good so far. MVP, can they actually pull off the reverse sweep or the huge upset in this game? Elder Drake with 3 elementals is looking likely for Battlecomics. MVP, where are they going to make their stand? Probably would be at the Baron, you know, maybe push out the lanes and try to go for a play there, a 5-on-5, that might be your only chance.
And I love Elder into Baron because you take the Elder, all MVP can do is deny the buff. It doesn't even give them something if they steal it. And then you walk to the Baron and say, well, you can get full value of this, but good luck taking it through Elder onto what is now a 5.5 item Xayah, a Rise that is at about the same spot. And a Mundo, who didn't even buy a Bramble Vest. He just got a stopwatch to guarantee he never ever dies.
There was a Baron there. Now it's gone. Didn't really see that one. We got that momentum play straight into the mid lane. They want to push it down and win Game 2.
Been a pleasure to watch Dove on the rise. He's been so much more creative with the Realm Warp than really any LCK rises we've seen post the removal of the Deficio escape with the stopwatch into ult play. Really a pleasure to watch it. Battlecomics, they've done so much of the work. The mini wave and top and bot isn't crashing just yet, but the moment that happens, oh boy, MVP gonna have the most headaches you could ever ask for.
Just waiting for it. On Fleek has his Weaver's Wall ready to go. And he can definitely scoop up this MVP team if they go a little bit too far. Hollow, the immediate QSS, is not going to go down to just one silly arrow. And the push is on in the bottom side, actually. The super minions coming in, and, well, ADD is going to get devoured up, but look at the damage coming through from the side of Bitcoin. They're able to take out nearly everybody here. Sword getting extremely low, but he's not going to die in the back of this fight. He's going to Zhonya's up, and he's going to gain even more health, even with the Ash attacking him. That's going to do it for Game 2, guys. Battlecomics ahead 2-0.
Congratulations to Team Battlecomics. They're able to close it out after that extended delay, which changed the turning point in the game. If Battlecomics had won,